Hello, my friend, and thank you so much for joining me for my video series on how to pick your perfect partner. This is video 2. So if you missed video 1, we talked about what may block you from actually attracting your partner. And if you've had any experience with love, you'll know that sometimes it's a common occurrence to actually pick a partner that is inappropriate or just plain outright bad for you. So I know I went through that after I got divorced from my partner of 19 years. I ended up dating a very inappropriate partner for me for a couple of years, and it was a huge learning curve. So now that I have found my soulmate and have come out the other side, and I'm super happy, I want the same thing for you. So the way to do that is through understanding who your perfect partner is, and this is step 2 in my free video training. So I'm Cynthia Clark, your intuitive life coach, and I'm also a hand analyst expert and a tarot expert. So my way of helping you is somewhat a unique perspective. But literally, your hands show you everything that is in your life. And if you can learn the language of your hands, you can actually use that information to find your soulmate and attract your soulmate ultimately. So today we're going to be talking about an example. We're going to be continuing with one of my clients' hands. I call her Jane to keep her anonymous, but we're going to be looking at just how do I read, what is a perfect partner and what does that mean? And you can actually see it in the hands. So let's dive in and take a look. Okay, so we're going to determine who is Jane's perfect partner. And step 1 is to identify through her hands what her primary element is. So the hands can form one of 4 shapes. They can be earth, fire, air, or water. And each one of these elements is going to have a compatible element, or you can think of it as a harmonious element. And there's also going to be an opposite and then a stifling element. So when you think that your hands form their shape, by the time you're about 6 years old, this represents your basic energy, okay? And it's going to impact you for the rest of your life. So in terms of finding a perfect partner, it's really important to know what your primary element is so that you can attract your complementary or harmonious element. And you can avoid the opposite or the stifling element. Okay, so how we do this, step 1 is we first look at Jane's fingers. Okay, so her middle finger, we're going to measure that in relationship to her palm. And as you can see, she's got short fingers, okay? So that's the first measurement we want to take. The second measurement is looking at the length of the palm versus the width. Okay, and she's got actually a very rectangular palm. As you can see, it goes way past in the length versus the width. So that is representing a fire hand. Okay, so Jane's primary element is fire. Her complementary element will be air, okay, because fire and air feed off of each other. Air feeds the fire. So she needs an air hand as her partner. And an air hand would be somebody with the exact opposite hand shape in this case. It'd be long fingers and a square palm. Okay, so that's what Jane is looking for. So we take that one step further and we ask, what is her strong finger? And how we do that is we look at the fingers relative to each other. Okay, so just to understand what the fingers represent. They are different energies, okay? So the index finger we call Jupiter, represents water. Saturn, the middle finger, representing earth. We've got Apollo, representing fire, and Mercury, representing air. We don't measure the thumb in this case, not for the purpose of determining the archetype. Okay, so the first thing we look at is, okay, well, which finger seems to be standing out the most? Okay, so I would say the little finger needs to come up above this point right here. So I would say no to Mercury. The second one, Apollo, we're looking at, you can see this finger didn't even print very well. It's got this wasting here. It's got this energy here that's missing. We also look at its length versus the Jupiter finger, and it is longer than Jupiter, but I would say this is not the strong finger based upon what we're seeing here with this weakness. The middle finger looks pretty darn strong. It's straight. And again, we compare the two fingers next to it to see how strong it really is. And you can see here, like if we move Apollo over and we try to see, okay, well, where is it falling? It's falling at about the halfway point. Okay, so Saturn could be a strong finger. Let's look at Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter is, well, it's sticking out a little bit. And it's definitely short because it's, again, we compare Apollo and Jupiter together. Jupiter is shorter in this case. So it is not the strong finger. So therefore, Saturn is the strong finger. And so Jane's archetype is the combination of fire and Saturn, which is the lovers. Okay, so the lovers represents the energy of partnership. Okay, so in some cases it's better to not have a partner. And, you know, there's very independent archetypes, okay? These represent the personality influences. But in this case, Jane is a lover's archetype. She would actually do better with a partner in her life. So her best match was air, as we determined from the hand shape. And her best match, okay, so with Saturn, that's the earth finger. Earth is complementary with water. Okay, so the water finger would be Jupiter. So in the combination of air Jupiter, that would be the strength archetype. So she needs somebody who has a big vision, somebody who, you know, that's an expansive energy, a loving kindness. You can think of it as someone who wants to help other people grow. And it's perfect for a lovers who needs that sort of a boost in the confidence, okay? So the second step we want to look at is Jane's heart line. We want to identify the heart line type, and again, everything corresponds to the elements. Okay, so here is her heart line. Okay, it's coming up towards Jupiter. All right, on both hands, you can see that it's curving to Jupiter. So this is what we call a water heart line. Okay, so that means she's expressive. You know, anytime a heart line curves, that's an expressive heart line. And it's long, which means that she wants to put other people first. So it's a nurturing heart line as well. So Jane is most compatible with Earth. Okay, so again, you look at the element water complements earth. That would be a heart line that just comes straight out and stops. Okay, so that would be her best match. And that would be somebody who's very solid and stable. And in terms of their emotions, they can absorb her watery expressiveness. So it's a complementary energy. The next thing you want to look at is just what is missing. What do these hands show that they're deficient in. And that would be something that a partner could hopefully bring in and enhance. In this case, I would say her phalanges, her middle phalanges are weak. You can see how they kind of cinch in. We call this wasting. And wasting of the fingers shows literally a depletion of the energy. In this case, it's the action zone of her hand. And she's a fire, which is very dynamic energy. So she needs a partner who can help open up her dynamic action. And so that's something that she would need to look for in a partner. As you can see, there are tangible ways to identify not only who you are as an emotional being, but you can also identify who is your perfect partner through your palms. And you can measure it and calculate it. So I hope you found this video interesting and exciting. And in our next video, we're going to take a look at what to actually do with this information and how to attract that perfect partner now that we've identified who that is. So thank you for joining me and have a great day.